Hello, a very warm welcome to a new program, Technology and Your Health. My name is Abraham Donko. In this 21st century, technology is playing a crucial role in our daily lives and activities. But have you paused to ask yourself what impact technology is having on your life and that of your family? Today we'll be looking at technology, especially cell phone, radiation, and chemicals, and their impact on our health as a people. I have with me a survivor of hepatitis B, which also led to a kidney problem, Mr. Richard Quayson, to tell us his story and how he survived the scourge. You warmly welcome, Mr. Quayson.
Thank you very much.
Technology and Your Health.
Thank you once again.
First of all, we would like to ask why you are here.
First of all, let me say good evening to our cherished viewers. I'm here purposely to practically demonstrate to Ghanaians what cell phone radiation and chemicals are doing to them, for them to take the necessary cautionary measures in order for us to save lives and also not to put pressure on our medical bills. But before I practically demonstrate that, I would like us to watch a video on reports submitted to the World Health Organization by 160 scientists all over the world. After that, we look or watch CNN research finding on cell phone radiation. Then we listen to casualties who are telling their stories. After that, I would now do the practical demonstration for every Tom, Dick, and Harry, or any doubting Thomas, to really see the need for cautionary measures to be taken.
I wish to speak to you as a scientist, and I will focus on the science. A lot of people talk about science, but not all of them are scientists. And many of the scientists who speak to you are not scientists in the area that they are supposed to be speaking about. The electromagnetic fields of a variety of frequencies can cause biological effects, important biological effects, including damage to some fundamental molecules. And furthermore, that we have a fair idea of what the mechanism is. In other words, that there are ways in which we can understand how this can come about. And part of the answer to that mechanism comes from the evidence of the biological molecules themselves. Because if you know the right language, the cells can tell you what they are doing. In other words, we can act as translators of the biology to tell you what the cell is trying to do. And that's the thing that we have been able to do. That the stress protein is an indication by the cell in its own language that it has come in contact with something that is bad for it, that is potentially harmful. And what it's telling us is that when we know that the cell reacts to EMF in the environment, it is telling you that the cell feels it is potentially harmful.
The World Health Organization now says there's a possibility, a potential risk. Radiation from cell phones could cause cancer.
Turns out participants in the study who used a cell phone for 10 years or more had doubled the rate of brain glioma, a type of tumor. And keep in mind, cell phone use in the United States has only been popular for around 15 years.
After several minutes, that it really starts causing DNA problems. It even heats the brain.
What microwave radiation does, in the most simplistic term, is very similar to what happens to your food. When you put your food in a microwave oven, it's essentially cooking the brain.
If you've ever put a cell phone to your ear, you should listen to what neurosurgeon Dr. Keith Black has to say.
There's no way to say that cell phone use is safe. I think that the public has a right to know that there could be a potential risk. Environmental factors take decades to see their effect, not a few years.
So if it may take decades to get a clearer answer, what can we say about cell phone safety now?
All right, now tonight's top story, your lifeline to the world, is being linked to cancer.
This is the story that we have been talking about all day. Should we really be concerned about using our cell phones? Stephanie, what do you have to say?
Well, Cherie, Jack, we've all wondered if our cell phones are passing radiation through our bodies. And tonight, the doctors we talked to confirm there's enough evidence.
This is well recognized now as a possible risk to cancer. So the most vulnerable age group are going to be children, and more kids are using these cell phones.
Tu showed us his computer model, which shows us how much radio frequency children can absorb. It's enough for Tu to realize consumers should be alerted and aware.
In children, their skull is thinner, their scalp is thinner, so the microwave radiation can penetrate deeper into the brain of children and young adults. And their cells are dividing at a much faster rate, so the impact of the microwave radiation can be much larger.
And here's something else that might surprise you. The cell manufacturers themselves actually advise against putting the cell phone right next to your head or really anywhere in your body. Dr. Keith Black has been talking about this longer than many, but the voices joining him are becoming louder and more prominent. The city of San Francisco pushed for radiation warning labels on cell phones. The head of a prominent cancer research institute sent a memo to all employees urging them to limit cell phone use because of possible risk of cancer. And the European Environmental Agency has pushed for more studies, saying cell phones could be as big a public health risk as smoking, asbestos, and leaded gasoline.
More than 2/3 of Americans have cell phones, but there's long been a question: does heavy cell phone use hurt human health? Lindsay Davis reports on a major new study which for the first time shows cell phones do seem to have some mysterious effect on the brain.
Some are calling the study a landmark event in our understanding of how cell phones affect the human body. 47 participants had cell phones placed on their left and right ears. One cell phone was activated but muted, the other was turned off. After 50 minutes, the researchers took PET scans of the subjects. Look at what they found. The image on the left shows what happened when the cell phone was turned on. The most active areas are in red. Notice the upper right part of the brain. That's the area closest to the antenna. Compare that with this image on the right of the same subject when they had their cell phones turned off.
A committee composed of scientists from 14 different countries working for the World Health Organization concluded that exposure to cell phone radiation is a possible carcinogen because what the cell phones do is emit a radio frequency magnetic field which interacts with your own biological signaling system to cause this increase. And this expert World Health Scientific Committee found that there was a 40% increased risk of cancer.
It's interesting because you look at all the studies out there and most people will say, look, I mean, they're fine. A lot of scientists will say that. But, you know, I've read all these studies, Larry. I mean, I've spent the last year sort of really reading this, and there's 16 really good studies out there, a few since 2000. Most of them, if you really dissect it down, they really only follow the patients along for just a few years. And, you know, people use their cell phones for years and years, and kids start using them. They're going to use them their whole lifetime. Also, some of the studies say regular cell phone use is using it one time a week for 6 months. I mean, who uses a cell phone that little nowadays? So my point is this, that, you know, if you read the studies alone, they'll say they're safe. But if you start to say, well, look, wait a second, how about if it's 10 years? How about it's 20, 30, 40 years?
We don't know yet.
We don't know, and if you use your phone all the time.
We need to look at the overall picture of what the cell phone radiation does to the body over time, and we need to take into account the young age of so many cell phone users today, kids who are sleeping with cell phones, people who are downloading apps to play to their babies in their cribs. It's a much bigger issue than just that one indication on a cell phone.
I'm here today for one reason. Basically, I think it's my moral and ethical duty to inform other people who are not in the know on this issue, as I wasn't for 20 years, and probably in excess of 20 years using a cell phone. I consider myself a very informed person. I read 3 or 4 newspapers a day, and I still was not aware of the fact that I was effectively smoking 3 or 4 packs of cigarettes a day while I was using my cell phone for 20 years as far as cancer risk. And it wasn't, as I mentioned in my brief talk, it wasn't until I collapsed in the shower about 1.5 years ago my wife found me and she thought I was dead. And then I woke up and I ended up in the hospital. That I'm really lucky to be alive right now after the experience I've had over the last year, which I attribute unequivocally, categorically, for sure to cell phones. I have a brain tumor, I had a brain tumor, an anaplastic astrocytoma grade 3 brain tumor the size of a baseball.
Now, Mr. Quayson, one may ask, we are a third world country and we are now developing. How did you come by all these medicines and the solution to these problems that are associated with radiation, chemicals, and cell phone use?
This is a story I want to share with every Ghanaian. This is my Kolebu report. That is on the 31st of March 2010. And you see hepatitis B reactive.
Yes.
From there, I did not end there. I went to PPAG, Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, the same day, 31st
March
and
2010.
It also proved hepatitis B positive. I pursued further to MedLab, where it was sent to South Africa for viral load tests, and it also proved to be positive, and I was referred to a doctor, one Dr. Safo. After she had looked at the report, she started counseling me and said it was beyond her. So she referred me to one Professor Fram, who then was at the Swan Clinic, South Labadi Estate, opposite Kingdom Bookshop. He looked at the report, and all that he could say was that the hepatitis B had affected my kidney, but I had not come to the hospital early. That amounts to death warrant. So I said to myself, I cannot be alive and be declared dead. So I started doing my own research. And this is how come, by his grace, I've managed to survive. And I want to share this knowledge with Ghanaians. There are some means we can do to boost our immune system so that our health needs will be minimized.
So generally, what advice do you have for Ghanaians, especially the usage of mobile phones?
With the usage of the mobile phone, we've managed to come up with what we call a BMO sticker. How this small gadget can protect you from radiation effects.
Well, initially we spoke about chemicals and radiation. Having demonstrated the chemical aspect of what you are proposing, what about the radiation? How can we minimize its effect at least?
With the radiation, I will invite one of your crewmen to come so that you practically see how it is. Because when I say it, you will not believe it. And chemicals and radiation are the two things that break down our body cells after a long time. No, they are deemed to be non-ionizing, so we consider them to be safe. But there's no evidence that it has a negative effect on our DNA. So, my boss, you stand here. Do you have a mobile phone? Yes. Hold it at your left hand and then stretch the right arm like this. At the count of 4, I'm going to press his hand down and he's to resist. Naturally, you observe how strong he is. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Is he very strong? Now, relax. I'm going to bear the phone and then we repeat the same exercise. Then you tell me whether there's a difference or not. Everybody needs to share this information with his or loved ones, because almost all of us are likely to be victims. It's Berlin, straight the arm. The same man. At the count of 4, I'm going to press. 1, 2, 3, 4. Have you seen him shaking? Have you seen? Now, wait. The Dapton Thomases will tell you that he is unable to resist because his attention is on the phone. Now, this is a simple gadget called a BMO sticker. I am going to place it at the back of his phone and I'll bell again. Then you will tell me whether it was his attention or it was something that was happening to him. You just place it there, hold it for just 1 or 2 seconds, and that is it. This is a BMO sticker. A BMO means my people, Nzima. Now, he holds it. I'm going to bell him again. When your phone gets damaged and you buy a new one, you can remove it, add some adhesive to it, and stick it to the next phone. It's now straight the arm again. Now it's belling. 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it his attention or was it something that was happening to him? Now you see his energy level is back to previous time when the phone was not belling. Sticker is doing is reversing the EMF. That is the medium of communication. So without the sticker, it has some impact on him. Not only that, when I came here, I could just tell you what is going to happen to you in the future. Because when I see these telecommunication marks around, it tells you that all of you over here, after some years when you've gone home, you are going to suffer from this. And all that it takes is this simple sticker. This is what you call a BMO health card. The BMO health card not only protects you from a single gadget like this, but it protects you against all radiation around. We're going to do a simple test for you to see. As I can put your phone in your pocket. Now spread your 2 arms like this. Raise one leg up. Now watch. I'm going to press his hand down and he's going to resist. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, he drops the leg. Try this side too and let's see.